Hello, welcome back to day 6. We are on a roll right now. We've got 5 days down. We're starting the second half of this course. And here we go. The downhill part has started of this workshop. We're halfway through. And you're here, you're all 5 days. I am immensely grateful that you're still here. Not that I doubted that you'd be here, but I'm grateful because you're choosing for you to make a change that you've wanted to change, but yet haven't. Yet you felt maybe lost or stuck, and you're taking control of your life. So I am curious, how are the activities going? I really hope that you're taking the time to dive into these, or at least willing to come back to them. Like, I know life gets busy, but this is the thing. This is what we always put off. Life's so busy. I don't have time to do this. Well, this is why, if you're still here, why you haven't achieved the things that you've wanted to achieve, because we keep pushing things off instead of making time. We have to commit to actions. And so today is a little bit about that. The change starts with our actions to do the work. Now, again, I hope you've taken the time to take those 3 deep breaths, settle in, get back to our space. Let's start. Day 6. Is it your dream? Is it your goal? Is it your passion? Or, I'm sure everyone's, what is that or? Now, today is going to be a big day. I really encourage you to settle in. If you have to break up today, no problem. Break it up however you need to. Today's a powerful one, though, because we know everyone has dreams. But the thing is, rarely anyone actually has dreams that they feel are worth chasing. But if we narrow down which ones are truly worth chasing, we have so many of them. That's the thing, is like, we can daydream about anything. And I'm going to touch on that in a second, but we can have so many dreams. We rarely know which ones are worth chasing. But if we can narrow down those dreams that are worth chasing, narrow them down, these then become our goals. And you're allowed to have many dreams and allowed to have many lofty, go big. They say, go big or go home. Shoot for the stars. But if you can narrow those down, you then can find yourself with some goals, right? When we claim or make a statement with what we truly want, and truly want as our goals, these become our goals, we can use the power of our words to speak them into existence. We've talked about the power of our words. We can then create stories based around these goals or these desires. We can then formulate beliefs and agreements within ourselves to start attaining these goals. And with the right mindset, we will actually create a force within our mind, within our being, that the world can't stop anything else but to give us those things to achieve the goals. That's how powerful that force becomes when we can truly align all our forces into one. The universe will do anything in its power to ensure that you win at receiving these dreams, these goals, these passions, and these deep down desires that you want. And I'm going to share later in this workshop about the universe wanting to conspire for you to win. But what I'm going to share is something that might shake you up a bit about our perception of winning and how the universe is going to give you what you truly want. But there's a difference between having dreams and chasing your goals to make your dreams come true. Now, here's the hard part about it. Dreams themselves, this is the funny part, dreams themselves, they're simply entertainment. Think about them. Dreams, they just entertain thought. They entertain idea. They entertain you for a moment. You never have to truly chase them. There's no real push or fire or encouragement to chase a dream, because there's no real fuel there. There's no driving force behind a dream. Anyone can have dreams. Think about it. You can actually sit and have your best dreams while you sit on the couch, right? Like, your dreams that you have, you don't really have to set out to make them your reality. Like, I ask you to think this, like, if we're talking about dreams becoming reality, I ask you to think about this. just to see if you can connect with a thought that you may have had about your own dreams, and a big dream that you've had that you've wanted. Where were you in those times, or in that time of having this big dream of something that you've wanted or desired? What sparked the idea? What was the root cause? What brought it on? And what did you do about activating that desire into reality? If you're not living that, this is where the disconnect is. See, dreams can be crafted from the comfort of our couch, like I had mentioned. You can be sitting in a recliner on a beach, laid out with a Corona in your hand and an umbrella over you, thinking about your dreams. You can be uncomfortable in your work chair while sitting on your lunch break at the job that you have that's not serving your greater purpose or invoking your gifts. See, the dreams that you have are just thoughts and ideas that come into your brain. They sound fun. They bring on all sorts of appealing excitement. They stir up a buzz. But then what happens? Our brain kicks in. The faulty wiring starts, kicks in, switches on. The fear, the worry starts to tremble. The old mindset starts to take control. That whole thought process of worrying that we're not good enough. We're not good enough to have such a big dream. I can dream big, but I'm not good enough to have that type of dream. I'm not that good to have that type of reality for myself. I never set myself up. I didn't graduate college, or my parents split up when I was young, or I don't have enough money, or I don't have the proper certificates. There's always going to be another certificate that you can get, and always another level of education. And these big dreams that you actually want to achieve, we don't, because of the stories of our past. We drum up fear of the future. We start thinking of this mountain of things that we actually have to do in real life to make this dream come true, that the self-lack, the self-doubt, that negative self-talk, it all begins because we haven't learned to overcome those things. We haven't learned to unwire them. Then that dream you had, poof, it was just a midday entertainment idea of the what if game. So how can we get out of this terrible sequence? And how can we start turning inspiring dreams into motivated actions? Now, what I'm saying is not this profound thing that I just pulled from the universe. Like, I'm sure you've all heard this many times before. I'm sure you've read it. I'm sure if you watched a video, I'm sure you've heard one of your mentors or one of someone that you watch, or you've heard it in a movie, read it in a book, seen it in a magazine. But then why aren't you doing anything? Why hasn't anything changed? Well, here's the reason. Here's the reason that I found for myself, and that I find for so many people. In the mind, we create this monumental picture of this dream that looks so grand, so beautiful. It becomes huge. But in its hugeness, it becomes daunting. It becomes so big that it starts to cast this immense shadow over us. And under that shadow, we succumb, we give in, and we start telling ourselves that we aren't good enough. You find yourself endless reasons to not go for it. It's too much. So the dream, you have to break down into your goals, these goals in which make up the bigger part of your dream. And again, I'm not reinventing the wheel here. It all sounds so simple. Well, when you say it, it sounds so simple. Trust me, I lived it. I lived it until I started putting in the work and doing it and creating a process for myself that worked. Because here's where everyone quits. The goals require you to commit. They require you to commit to those goals, to turn the goals into fire that fuels your potential. See, when you start finding your potential and you start realizing from like I gave you some activities yesterday, when you start realizing your potential, your goals then have fuel, right? You then can make commitment to your goals because you're realizing the reality of what you have within you. And through your understanding, through connecting, through using and realizing the reality of your potential, your life gets meaning. This is when things change. Now, I know commitment is the big word here, right? Commitment is so big. It's what so many people are terrified of, actually. I, for myself, can very much attest to that. For a very long time, I was afraid of commitment. And in so many areas of life, this commitment idea holds us back. I want to share a simple example that we all probably have been through in our lives, or we know someone very close to us that went through this. It's this example of the New Year's resolution. Now, I know a mass amount of people commit to them, and I guarantee one of us in this group has done it. Someone you know has done it. They set them come January 1. January 1's the date. It's the new year. It's time for new change. Hoorah! Well, why is it that every year people have to make new commitments? And usually, a lot of the time, sadly enough, it's the same commitments from last year. How come they didn't just commit to these commitments on March 13th or July 1st or November 19th? Why January 1? Why is that? When all the other people are going to do the same thing, why are we committing in the same time? The answer is, and this is no knock on anyone, this is no judgment, but the greater part of our being is we want to be supported. We want to be a part of something bigger than us. People want to feel part of something, especially when we're trying to overcome our personal barriers or our roadblocks or our hindrances. We don't want to go through that alone. So when it comes to our dreams and actually truly going after them, this is what gets scary, because we know a lot of times we need to do it, or we feel we need to do it alone. It means we get all so caught up in our feelings that we don't want to share our dreams with anyone else, because we don't want anyone else to have our dreams. We don't want anyone else to go for those things. We become so selfish. We don't speak about it. We don't share about it. We don't want to feel it. We don't want to admit it to the world, because we think and we feel someone else might steal our idea. Remember, no one has your unique sets of gifts and talents to share with the world what you want to share, because they're your dreams. Don't forget, people are allowed to support you and encourage you, and they should be there for you. But also don't remember, at the end of the day, those people that you might be looking for or not wanting to share with, you're going to need to find a driving force. The people aren't going to be the force of the fire. You alone got to dig down and find out what is going to be that fire. And that's what we're going to talk about a bit further in today's topic. So at the beginning of these New Year's resolutions, just to drive in the nail in the coffin on this, people come with, in achieving New Year's resolutions, they have to come with commitments to attain the goal. Simple. And a lot of times these commitments and goals, they're very highly attainable. Like, people should be achieving them every year, and it shouldn't be the next one for next year. But in the fun part about creating, I think, for people is in the commitment phase, right? When we start committing, even like love relationships, the commitment phase is like, it's actually exciting. This idea of transformation and change and like, woohoo, like, let's do something. Like, I'm so sick of the way I was. But what goes wrong? Life happens. People are always juggling so many things that most people don't truly have the concentration and the energy and the actually necessary desire to be super focused on something. That's why come January 1, January 1 has become this hallmark feature, this hallmark day or time for potential change and transformation. Why do you think so many gyms and get fit ideas and diets and cleanses come out? They all have big, huge deals for long-term goals, because they know people aren't going to commit. That's the sad part. They know people are going to fail on their commitments because life happens. Why don't our diets and our gym commitments and all these come with someone that can help us with our planning, our daily planning in our life. That's what's going to help us get through. The idea is that if you want something, anything, no matter what it is, January 1 is not an option. Stop using January 1. There's no better time than right now to create and to make a reality that you want to have. But I will say this. Most people that actually see their New Year's resolutions all the way through and that truly reach them is because they either worked with someone, they had a coach, they had a mentor, someone was holding them accountable. And also, they became super, super clear on their outcomes. They combine that with a deep down purpose. Again, that anchor, that purpose. Like I said, passion is not enough. There's reason for change for them. There is something so big that's impactful that's making them change. There was something so powerful that they decided, it moved them so strongly that they committed. And it's going to come down to these 4 words. What is your why? Because of those things, because they found a why, they found an anchor to their purpose, they created consistent actions to sum up to their goals that created their dreams in that moment, whatever, even if it was a January 1 dream that actually paid off. Now, I'm not sharing all of this to scare you. I'm not like trying to intimidate you about commitment, but I do want to share, there's some great news about commitment. Once we actually adhere to commitment, once we really commit and we follow our commitments, a massive momentum will start to move with you once you start to get past those initial phases, those hindrances, those self-doubts, those disbeliefs, that old thinking. The thing is, people just don't realize that commitments are their real issue. This is what's keeping them back. There's no anchor into their commitment. If they become passionate about an idea, nothing is really. All right, so the New Year's resolution, we laid some foundation, right? So let's get back to our goals. I had to lay some foundation. Now, from that example of the New Year's resolution, I'm sure you could agree that goals alone need far more than simply a desire or a passion to move you to do something. Anyone can dream, like we talked about, and anyone can desire change, but what's going to activate you into making it a reality? Goals need more than desire, but they also need more than just passion. Our passions are great, don't get me wrong, but they are just passions. They're just that. Passions aren't sustainable. Sorry, your passion is not sustainable. It's not sustainable in achieving the dreams that you want and the life that you truly desire. Let's think about your life in a snapshot. How many things have you actually been passionate about before in your life? Many? A lot? Several? Have your passions changed? Have you had new passions? Have you added more passions? Have you lost some passions? Most of the time, our passions burn out. Many of us now might even be doing work. And when I say work, I mean like your job, your career. Many of us might even be doing work that we're passionate about. And that's great. I think it would be safe to say that everyone has something that they're passionate about somewhere in their life. My God, I hope so. It could be very dark and sad if you don't find something you're passionate about. Passion, a lot of times within us, within people, will end up creating skills that we didn't even know we had, that we didn't even know that we could have. This is what I love about what I do, and what I've realized my potential is, showing people the potential that they didn't even know that they had. Digging that out of them, pulling it out, extracting them from their timeline, and showing them something that they didn't even know existed and resided within them, and then transforming that into a reality. Now, hopefully, the skills that were created in our passions that we have so far, hopefully they got you somewhere up to this point. And I can imagine that that somewhere is the job or career that you have now or have had for many years, or maybe even that you had in the past that you had for a long time. And for most people, this passion that they got really good at, these skills that they got really good at, end up being a job that they don't really like. There's something in that job that gives them passion, but something about that job overall they really don't like, and it's draining their inner being, yet they don't know how to change. The craziest and yet saddest part about this is a lot of people just live with those passions at a job that they don't like. And then they end up dying, not truly living to their potential, simply because they let their passion create comfort, a comfortable feeling of just being the way it is, of thinking that this is the way it is. Now, what if, I ask you this, what if what you truly want to invoke, if you truly want to invoke fearless greatness, if you truly want to have and live the reality you have always wanted, to not fear the reality of how great you actually are, and to not doubt the potential of that you possess, is to not just have passion. What is something that you just can't stop thinking about? What is something that you obsess over and at times wish you could be doing every single day? Maybe it's crocheting. Playing croquet. Maybe it's crocheting. I got those two words mixed up. Maybe it's surfing. Maybe it's cooking. Maybe it's teaching kids. Maybe it's public speaking. Maybe it's journaling. Maybe it's blowing up balloons. I don't know. The thing is, a lot of times people say obsession is bad or that it can be a bad thing. But for me personally, if there's something that you obsess over, if there's an obsession you have on how you can obsess over something on how that can become the greatest version of yourself, this thing that you obsess over can actually become you and your authentic self, your authenticity. And by obsessing over this and actually working on this obsession with true actions, you can actually seek out and live up to your potential every single day. This is pure authenticity. To me, this is your mountaintop. To me, this is your lion's roar. To me, this is your Superman or Superwoman moment. Like, here I am, baby. It's time to stop living simply in passion mode. Okay, great. So how do we get to that, right? I've been asking myself this year, great. I can't just be passionate about something. I have to fucking have pure purpose. I need to have an anchor. I need to know what is my why. We need to create that inner emotional state that makes us feel something so powerful. It inspires everything you do in your life. It inspires how you speak, how you think, how you act, how we interact, who we hang out with. This obsession becomes your life. This thing that you're seeing in the future of who you want to be and what you want to live like is an obsession that you obsess about it so much, you start living as it now. When you can obsess over something so grand and then actually have the tools on how to activate that obsession into reality, that's the key. Having the tools to create an obsession and make it your reality. It's no longer a dream. It's no longer just goals. It's no longer just a passion. This is what living in fearless greatness looks like. This is what it feels like, because you won't allow anything to get in your way, and you will make any and all choices necessary to reach this level of life that you deserve and you have been seeking for ages. Now, I want to ask you this tough question, and I want you to ask yourself this. And remember this only for you. So complete this with honesty, because this is the key for you to understand and to connect in the ability to change your reality. It's a tough question. And I ask you to answer with honesty to yourself. Do people look at you? Do they think about you? Do they speak at you? Do they share with you? Do they think to themselves about you? And they think about the life that you are leading right now. And do those people feel within them a complete sense of being in awe of where you are in your life and what you're doing in the world that you're creating and who you're impacting, whether it's your kids, your community, your wife, people, clients, your employees, your colleagues. Are people completely in awe of your life? It's a tough question. If they're not in awe, they should be. They should be in complete awe of what you've chosen to do with your life and the reality you're creating. And this is what I mean by this. To be in awe of how you are choosing to give yourself permission to step into creating the life you have always thought about, the one you've always talked about, the one that you've shared with others, the one you've dreamed about, and now you're living it. Tough question, but I challenge yourself to ask it and answer with honesty. If it's a yes, maybe you're just here for shits and giggles, and I appreciate you. If it's a no, great. Be kind to yourself. Don't be upset with yourself. It's time to move on. That's why we're here. It's time to invoke the reality. It's time to become fearless. But until we find what is beyond just a dream, until we find what empowers our goals, what anchors in our passions, we won't be able to focus in with true intention to create the reality that we want to have. And you will continue to believe that you don't deserve, and you will have self-doubt in yourself. Unfortunately, if you can't find those things, those anchors, that why, that obsession, that purpose in life, you're going to feel that you don't deserve. You're not going to be driven to create. You're going to lose attention to your goals. But if we can flip that around, as I just said, you can lose the attention to your goals. Once we can find intention and attention to our goals, we can find commitment to something that we obsess over, using the tools that we can find and cultivate, and believe in a potential we have. We can then start to create this daily life, and we can start to invoke this from within to create the reality that you deserve. But we have to go in to go get it. Once we go in to go get it, we can start to unfold all the files, clear away the clouds, the shadow that we talked about earlier. We can open up all the files from our past, understand all our files of the dreams of the future that we want to have. We can look at the files, condense the files, put them into real action. Action always overcomes fear. We've got to take action through the things that we understand, through what we understand about ourselves from our past, what we connect to from our future. So I'm going to ask you this. What is your why? What is your impactful why? What is it? What is your why? Your why will be what takes your passion, what will take your passion to your goals, to then your dream, to then become your reality. This is what's going to bring you fearlessness. But we have to connect to the what, the why, and the how. Otherwise, it will just remain a dream. What is your why? Now, we've probably all heard this before. We need to fall in love with the process. Great, this is something that plagued me forever. I was just strangled by this process. I would not commit. I would not commit. And that process is the commitment, which is the hardest part for everyone. If you just commit and take action, the momentum will start behind your commitments. Here's the thing about modern day society. Our need for instant gratification is unparalleled. That has to be let go of. Your dreams are not going to happen like that. Your realities are not going to happen like that. Your goals aren't going to happen like that. Your commitments aren't going to happen like that. Finding your potential is not going to happen like that, or realizing it actually. You have to put in the work. And I'm going to talk a bit about this tomorrow in tomorrow's topic in detaching from certainty, like how to give up being so stuck on instant gratification, being so stuck on this grandiose dream that we have. How can we detach from that idea, from detaching from the certainty of what we want, to then start taking the actions necessary to get there? So I'm going to ask you one more big question, and I want to ask you and leave this with you to truly think over before tomorrow's video. And this is what I want you to journal about. This is going to be the activity. Is it your dream? Is it your goal? Is it your passion? Or is what you want to create in your life, what you want to invoke as your reality, is it your obsession? Are you willing to become the greatest version of yourself, to face life as a fearless creator and find what your life can be like when you realize truly how great you are? Because your passions alone, not enough. They just lead you to think and believe that you have time, that there's always tomorrow. And maybe next year I can try it. No, none of those are promised. Stop thinking like that. Stop living in that reality that time is on your side. You're allowing yourself to let yourself down. What is your why? What is your purpose? Use some of the tools from yesterday's activity. Bring those into play. And what is the why, and why you want those things? What is the anchor? What is the fire that's going to drive you to commit to something so big that you will find a way to overcome, to take action, to become fearless, to step into your greatness and stop holding yourself back? So what is it you truly want? And why is it a must that you have it? That's the activity for today. Be well, go deep into this activity, be honest, and find out your what and your why. Take care. Love you.